Yes.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So what we'll be talking about today is HR Day Suite. It's an all-in-one HR suite available both on cloud and on premise, and it has all the parts of a HR system, but there are some things which make it stand out, which I'll be speaking over the course of time. What you see in front of you, that this has the basic workforce management where you can maintain the employee data, and it has the time and attendance, performance management, benefit administration, payroll, travel and expense management. So sort of an all-in-one comprehensive suite. And it's also got an ATS system, which is applicant tracking or recruitment and hiring. And then it's got a training and development, which is also called LMS, Learning Management System. So we might just go over a typical organization chart and the recruitment process. So I'll first show this on a PowerPoint, and then we can go in the software and then take it from there. So a manager typically logs into the ESS and MSS portal, and they can place their job requisitions. And once the job requisitions get created, they can, with one click, post it to your career portal directly without the intervention of a webmaster. And during this course, it is also subjected to an approval workflow. So if someone wants to, there are certain job requisitions which are high salaried. There are other set of job requisitions which are not as high salaried. So some might need a CFO approval, or some might be okay with a finance manager approval, or hiring manager. So whatever are those workflows that can be defined, and these can the managers or the approvers don't have to log in the application. They can even get approved directly off their email, the official emails that they are assigned. So you can also see the status of those requisitions. So once these get approved, then just with one click of the job requisition button on the portal, the job requisition portal, you can post it to the career website. And then you can assign recruiters to the system, and once you've assigned it, you can start receiving application. It can also link it to certain job portals like Indeed, Monster, or Dice, or whichever portals have an API to connect with. So the job requisitions, all the applicants start applying to it, and all the database gets collected in your HR system. And then you can even do a future reference to it.
Okay. Praveen, can I just ask you a quick question? How do candidates apply at the moment?
They directly send emails to us, to our inbox.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no portal in place at the moment.
Yeah. So the portal that we have, the other one, it has folders within the portal, the job portal. So as such, we don't have a tracking system, but it's bulk load that we just save it in the folders. No synchronized or organized way of tracking them.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. So in this case, you will have every requisition, how many people applied for it. So there's also something like read unread feature that you can check that how many applied and how many were actually responded or rejected. There's also an automated rejection workflow. So we have certain set of screening questions in the system that we can subject the candidate to, and so there are like merit and demerit questions. So for example, you might have someone give a very high negative score for doing a felony, or there are some things that you might not appreciate, that you don't want to hire a person with certain behavioral issues and so on. So you can subject them to certain questions before even inviting them for a telephonic interview or so on.
Okay, so there's
So
some
this
filter
is,
questions.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can just like design questions and design questionnaires. And then in the job requisitions, you can pick up these questionnaires, the screening questionnaires that you have assigned to the candidate.
Okay.
Now, so the portal creates your own database, and candidates can go register on the portal as a guest or apply on the portal. And I'll just also show you the same thing. So we have certain versions of our portal that you can pick and choose. So this becomes something like your career website, and all the jobs that you're posting go on this website with just one click of the. So I can just show how the system looks like when the job requisitions are active. So you might have certain job requisitions which are in draft status. There's certain job requisitions which are in the approved status and posted status. So all these requisitions are visible in this. So you can see here some of them are posted. So the posted ones are the ones which are live on the portal, and approval is pending for some of the requisitions, and some of the requisitions are in draft state. So these are some examples how these requisitions tie in. And
okay.
The applicant pool that I was talking about, that all the candidates that have applied, and even if you have not interviewed, you have not selected, there's a resume data bank that stays with you. So you can look into those, and some of our customers are even creating dummy requisitions and collecting resumes for a future job opening, and they might just give them a call at a later stage. So this also has a parsing engine which has a built-in artificial intelligence where it can suck out the email and the phone number and the other relevant information, the work experience of the candidates. So, for example, if you filter on certain criteria and you like, say, Tiana or Heather Williams, and you want to assign this lady to a certain job requisition, you can just pick the job requisition and it will automatically link it to the job requisitions that you're picking them for. So you can assign these, and once you have assigned it from the resume bank, and here also there is a coding method. This is so as Praveen said that they get certain resumes in the mailbox. So we have a system where they can directly click on the email, and the email will go as an attachment and get added to the applicant pool. And then these are like two different codings. So this is a coding standard, which a code which for the applicant who has applied directly from the portal, and this is a coding if the HR person has uploaded the resume into the system. So you can bifurcate those which are the resumes which came directly from the portal. And one of the unique filter that we are trying to use is A_ their country code and phone number, so that there is a duplicate filter also which can filter them on the phone number and the email. And you can quickly preview their resumes here directly, and you can just keep going on the next and try to see if you want to so from a productivity standpoint also, the tool has been designed in a way you can download the resume, you can forward the resume, and there is also functionality of a video resume. So you can even have a video resume, and if you see any candidate is to be blacklisted, is not wasting organization's time, then he can be blocked from the system to apply or like being considered in the application. After once
sorry,
these,
just quickly,
yeah.
if two people with the same name apply,
Yes.
and they've got the same email or whatever, it will flag up that you've already got that person in the database, will it?
Yes. So it won't let them register again, and it will give them a message, you're already registered in the system. So it takes zip code, phone number. I mean, it depends. Like some people don't want too many filters because a country like India has like so many repetitive names.
Yes.
So probably you might not just block them on names. So you might need their email and phone number, or even zip code or a city code as a combination.
Okay.
So that's one part, and then you can view these requisitions in a different way, that you can see all the applicants who have applied and even the questionnaires that they have applied. You can see what sort of responses that they give, and the system can automatically block them, or the user can probably reject them. So this is an example of the screen where I try to show you an example where you can have certain applicants who are in the system, and they can be subjected to like rejection or approval, and you can directly click it. Now, there are certain things which are also to be followed is what are the rejection reasons, why did you reject it? So the system can also capture those sort of reasons.
Okay. So when somebody applies, do they apply for a specific role, or can they just register their CV without it being attached to a particular job rec?
Yes. So they have the ability to apply as a guest, or they can apply as a just register themselves. So here is a register, and if they are a repeat people who come back again and apply, then they apply here. So when they register, they're asked the email and phone number. Currently, the filter has been, duplicate filter has been set on email and phone number. But this filter can be further enhanced if you want to capture the zip code. But if this email is registered, they'll get a message that this is already registered. And if this is not registered, then they get to go further into the system. And once they get in the system, then I just show you how it works. So there's a parsing engine here, and this parsing engine will probably be parsing the data out of the document. I'm trying to see if I can find the resume. And then once you click on say OK, so this will take the candidate to a window where they can fill in all their education and everything else that they want. And typically, I mean, I don't know the format of that document, I've not seen it, but this will actually automatically parse the resume. Okay, you can see here that it will parse the resume, and it will bring in all the details here. It will even like extract the experience and education out of the resume if it is in a certain format. So there is an 85% accuracy of these engines, the artificial intelligence engines that can, so this saves the applicant a time. So most of the time the applicant might run away from the system because there's too much to fill. So these are all configurable elements that if you don't want the applicant to run away, you might just ask them to just fill in the basic details. And then if they have applied to multiple jobs, this is a job cart, and they can apply to multiple jobs, what they saw on the portal. And if you assign them certain questionnaires, those questionnaires will come here. We have customers who give preconditional offers based on certain trainings that you will clear. which might be internal safety trainings or some sort of trainings, and they'll see all those trainings here. Once they clear those trainings, then you might call them for an interview process, which is like further in the workflow. So there's like applicant screening, and then you have certain screening process. And once that screening is all done, then you can convert them into an employee. So yeah, so because I'm just trying to work it a little faster, given your time constraint, Lynn. But
Yes.
there's like a part that it's difficult to cover everything in like a short span of time.
Yeah, that looks very comprehensive.
And the core actually is it comes from the employee master, which once the applicant gets converted, he's still in a waiting area, because typically you know that the people might take offers, but they might not show up on the day of joining. So you don't want to add them to your employee database and just corrupt or create trash in the database. So what you do is, so this is an example of the employee master. And you can see these, and these are the employees who are now active employees of the company. But there is a separate area which is called converted employees. Now, the converted employees is basically the employees who have come from the ATS or the recruitment module. They are coming here, and then they are in the waiting area in this particular scenario. So once they join the organization, you'll see a list of people who, right now I don't have anyone, but these are the people who will be showing here. And once they are here, then you can probably start their onboarding process if they show up on the day of joining, or you can resend their offers. So this is process onboarding.
Yep.
And then there are like this are the onboarding. What are forms do you want them to fill? If there are any induction trainings that they have to undergo. So there's an onboarding to-do list that gets created. The employee master itself is like pretty much like it contains typically everything from pay policy. So there's like one central area and a core repository of what travel policy are they assigned, what company assets, laptop or the company phone or what all. So you have everything from at the time of hiring, what you issued, and at the time of separation, you have a complete checklist that you can maintain here. These are some examples that you can just print their photographs. You can even do a geolocation. So there might be some in-field employees like construction, transportation industry, and sales employees if you want to do geolocation. If you want from an employee safety standpoint, where is the employee? But some countries have laws around privacy and stuff. But while issuing the company phone, you can, and there's an ESS app, like employee self-service app, which runs on that. It can give a complete tracking in the geo coordinates and the movement of the employee. So you can track that completely in the system. And this also has all the reporting details, who they are reporting to. Is it a matrix reporting? Is it traditional reporting? What sort of a reporting organization are you? Then from payroll standpoint, there is pay policies and all that stuff in the system. You can also have like all the qualifications where what is their education, and this typically also helps from a standpoint of classifying your employees, and which show on the dashboards. So I'll be going on the dashboards in a moment. Now here, if you have a company asset, like you can assign a fixed asset or a laptop or something, whatever, from the company database, and then here is the assigned date, what date they were assigned, what date they were approved, and who approved. And at the time of separation, probably you can just put when they return the laptop and who received the laptop from them. So you have a complete tracking of the system. And on top of it, there are certain people with the there are certain documents which are expiry relevant. So if you are hiring someone with a work permit, then probably you might have some sort of an expiry reminders. So if the document is expiry relevant, you can put in a date when it's going to expire. It will alert you in the system. There are like a lot of alerts in the system which show up also on the top and can come in the form of email pop-ups, or text message to your phone. So you can manage all those. And then if you don't see one of the fields, like there's also attendance, you can even integrate it with your biometric system. So you have the daily attendance which shows up here, but there's some setup which is to be done here. And there are certain employees who are timesheet based. There's certain employees whose attendance is monitored through another channel. So that attendance, timesheet management, everything comes in this area. Okay. So there's like a leave policy, and now these are the tabs where the end user goes, and there is a super user area, which is the setup area, which is the configuration of the system. So if you say that, oh no, we don't have these type of leave policies, then we can go in the system and we can train your users to how to change these leave policies, or assign a new leave policy to a location and so on. And then these are the things that we also learn from you. What are your reporting structures? What are your job titles? So we'll be setting up all these. The system comes with the default settings, and then we can enhance those settings as per your requirement.
Right.
So after the employee is inducted into the system, they have a self-service portal. So what you're seeing is a super user thing. They won't see any of these tabs. They will only be seeing something from your website. So it just take one of the portal example, like the employee self-service portal examples. And you'll see here, so this career is what will be linked to the job portal, the recruitment portal, ATS, and the employee login is for the employees to log into the system, and they can just log in with their regular logins, and they'll be taken to an employee self-service screen where they will not be seeing the rest of the portal, as you can see here. Now, if it's a manager, the manager will see the MSS portal. But these are also in the form of web services. If you don't like this look and feel, then probably you want your own look and feel. That's also doable. But that's all like system enhancements that if you need it. But they can update their personal details. They can place they can do their timesheets from here, submit expense. They can look up their past payroll history. They can print their past paychecks. And then they also have a help desk. If they have a system issue, they can raise the system ticket into it. If it's a 360-degree performance appraisal, then they can do their self-appraisals here. So what you see here, that you were seeing all that big menu here, you don't see any of that in this portal.
Okay. Can you link it to Active Directory, for example?
Yes, we have done it for a couple of our customers for a single sign-on. So if they have a company laptop and we have like an ADS, then we have a single sign-on, so they don't have to log into the system through. It can go directly on your company's intranet portal, and they can just click it on and be in the system directly from there.
Okay. So is the system built on reporting hierarchy or vacant or requisitions?
Job requisitions are like for the people like who are not part of the system, and then once they're inducted in the system, then you assign them a reporting hierarchy. So we have the reporting, like who they report to and what sort of a reporting structure they have. And all of this reporting structure is actually set up in the system based on what you tell us that, okay, we have the CFO reporting to the CEO and the finance manager reporting to them. So here's a reporting structure which we have to define as a part of configuration. This is the initial setup that we do in the system at the time of implementation of the project.
Okay. So, for example, where somebody in India reports to somebody in the UK, would they need a record on your system?
Yeah, we'll have to set up some sort of a system hierarchy and put like UK as a location in the system. So you can see here, there are two different companies. So UK would be one company. So you can flip over the system to another company's data if you authorize the person. So there's a control of the user authorization if he can see or he cannot see that particular data.
Okay. Okay.
And this is an example of the dashboards that I was talking about, that the system automatically generates certain dashboards. And it's also got an ad hoc reporting system. So whatever data you don't want or you don't want to authorize others to see, you can just hide those dashboards. And so these are like by education, by gender, by location, so you can compare last year with this year. So this is like last month, current year, whatever dashboards you want to compare. So you want to compare the employee count by last year and this year and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also got an ad hoc reporting. So the senior management has asked for certain reports. So there are certain standard reports which come with the system. And there's certain reports which you can do through a drag and drop. So you don't need a separate reporting or business intelligence tool on top of the system to coordinate this. And then the next part was the training part. You can have a training portal. Whatever training requests are being collected, you can decide what trainings are being imparted. You can publish them on the training calendar, which might be available through your intranet portal to the employees. And then they can undergo those trainings, sign up for them. They can be evaluated on those trainings by assigning certain questionnaires to them. And then these are like training calendar and trainee pool. So you have all the information of all the trainees who took which training. All this goes in the skill matrix of the employees. And once they have undergone these trainings, then you can pick and choose. I'm not aware completely about your organization's working style, but there are certain organizations who have project portfolio management, where they want to assign certain people to a certain project and they have a staffing need for the project, and they want to look up that who among these people is certified PMP project manager, and if there's like so they can figure out all those stuff within the system and assign, and the system can recommend them on that. So that's the project HRMS part of it.
Okay.
So you have like a project tracking and stuff. And then comes the performance management. So you can have your evaluation templates defined by different areas of the, by different department might have different evaluation criteria. So you can define individual templates, and you can assign them for 360-degree appraisals. So you might have quarterly sales or a quarterly, yearly sales, accounting, and so on, like different type of templates, and these contain on what criteria you evaluate them. Again, these are all configurable templates, so you have like certain scores that you think that should be given to these people, and then you have like if you want to add certain questionnaires, that these should be the set of questions for sure be asked during the performance evaluation and the feedback be captured. So all that can be defined in those templates. And then you also define your performance period. So you decide on like, okay, I'm going to schedule an appraisal now. So it's time for quarterly appraisals. You can schedule it by individual employee, by department. So it can say that, okay, now we're doing appraisals for the sales department. So so this will assign the template to the entire sales employees who belong to this department. You can do it by location. So as you asked, like, I mean, I'm doing it for California, or I'm doing it for Delhi. So whatever location I'm going to start the performance appraisals. And then you pick up the performance period. Like, you can define your performance periods in the system. That is Q1 of 2018 and sales review. So you can define your own codings, like a nomenclature that is more suitable to your environment.
Yeah. Praveen, do you think your existing appraisal process would fit into this tool, or would you have to modify it?
I think we would have to modify. I think a lot of features that are there in the tool or the default configurations. So like you mentioned, I think they will adopt to our current policies and integrate the system, or calibrate the whole system with our existing policies. Is that right, Ashish?
That's perfectly right, Praveen.
Yeah.
These are like just out of the box, just for a demo purpose. But when we do the implementations, we'll be working with the team, and we'll be gathering those requirements, and then we'll be configuring the system. We'll be taking a user acceptance and so on.
Yeah. So I think you said, Ashish, that it's part of it is set up. There's a core that's set up, and then you build on it. Is that right, or do you start from a completely blank page and configure then as you go?
Yeah. So there are two parts to the system. So one is called configuration, and another is called customization. So yeah, most of the things I assume can be met through configuration. The configuration is like turning on and off certain switches in the system. So you say that I want like a forced this thing on these set of employees that they should not be able to change, and then we set them up in a way that these employees should be forced to. So I mean, so we turn on the switcher. Or if you tell us, look, we have a very customized process, we do a background check, and this is a particular agency that we send, and you have to create certain APIs for them. So that's customization. So that's hold together another scope of the project. So we recommend that see and try, and we also recommend the same thing, that you just try to do the system as much as possible through configurations if it can handle, and in our case, majority of those things are done through configuration. So we try to discourage customization, because then when you upgrade, then you have to maintain a separate instance of because what you might customize might not be valid for another customer. So try to try to use the system with the configurations. But I mean, push comes shove, if you have to bite the bullet, then yes, I mean, we'll go ahead with the customization. So that's totally your call, like how you want to go ahead with it.
Yeah, one of the things that we're quite keen to do is to link the system that we have in India with the system that we have for the rest of the world.
Uh-huh.
How easy is it to build an interface between this system and our other system?
Yes, so as you can see here, I mean, we have these ready interfaces and APIs to be able to talk to any other system. So we also have like mobile apps and Android, they all use the API and web services. So we can integrate with any third-party system. So they're like customers who would just use our ATS system, and they might use some other tool. So I'm like being asked to refrain from naming any other customer, but but I'm
Yes.
assuming that you're already aware of them. So from that standpoint, you can integrate with any other tool which you're using. And you might just use one module and the data gets exchanged between the two systems through the APIs, which is constant these days.
And that would be an automated, so if an update was made in this system, it would automatically update a record in our other system, or is it a file transfer when you do it?
Yeah, there's everything can be done, like it's all cost of automation. You can have a flat file dump somewhere lying, and the system can on a every night or nightly basis or a weekly basis pick up the data from another place, or you can have a real-time interfaces through the APIs. As soon as the update is made in one system, it goes to the other system. So we have every type of interface that you want.
Yeah. Okay, that's helpful.
Sure.
Ashish, some quick questions.
Sure.
Last time also I was asking this, push notifications on employee self-service module. Can we do that?
Could you explain like what sort of like is that by announcement and stuff?
Yeah, say employee announcement, org announcements, or there is a training that is scheduled and this individual has not yet come, so we want to push notification on his ESS, or he's scheduled to attend an induction and then he's not there in the session, and HR, we are located in 3 different offices in Hyderabad, so not necessarily all the employees have telephones on their desk, so we should be able to just push a notification and he should be able to see that on his ESS. Can we do that kind of notifications?
Right. So there is an ESS app that we have, and if he's using an Android, or like he can get a notification directly on the app, and those are like again like send notification, and these are part of the configuration and alert messaging setup. So we'll have to set those things up based on what you're asking us to do.
Okay. Is it compatible with iOS as well?
Yes.
Okay. And
here is send notifications, as you can see here. So this is one example. I mean, you'll have to tell us that what notifications and where you want it in the system.
So to a specific employee, we are reminding that individual that he's scheduled for an induction today at 11 o'clock, and he's supposed to be there. Something like that. Yeah.
Yes. So we have reminder notifications. We have time-based notifications. We have frequency notifications. So which is what we call is alert in our systems. Okay. We have an alert master. So again, we'll have to set those things up. Okay. These are like alerts in the system.
Right.
Yeah. How long does a typical configuration take, Ashish?
So Lynn, that's a good question, but actually it all depends on the scope. Now, how complex of the requirements is that you give us. Like if you're okay with a standard system, then a standard system takes somewhere between like 12 weeks to 12 to like 18 weeks. Again, it depends like what all modules you take. You might say, oh, we don't want to do benefits. We don't want to do payroll. We might continue payroll outside the system. So it's all depend. But if you take everything somewhere between 12 to 18 weeks with the standard out of the box system, if they're like special bells and whistles, and again, we have to gather requirements, then it's how many people are involved in those requirement gathering sessions. So, I mean, it's like from UK and from India, and like is it a mix of people?
Okay, and then so do you do the implementation yourself, or is there an implementation partner?
Yeah, so I belong to Value Consulting. I don't belong to Value Consulting, the people that are dealing with Praveen. I'm from the parent company, which is Business Pointers. And then the product HR Days, they are our resellers who have been interacting with Praveen. So they are the implementation partners. We're doing this for them.
So Value Consulting is the implementation partner. Is that right, Ashish?
Yeah, they are also the exclusive reseller for India.
Okay, so Business Pointers is the parent company.
That's right. So we are based in the US, and we have like folks in India that are reselling the software.
Okay, okay.
Okay. And so is there a limit of the number of records that you can have in the system?
Yeah, we have customers with 15,000 employees
Okay.
that are using the system. So, I mean, you can just imagine the number of records can multiply based on, again, it's all dependent on number of transactions that are happening in the system. So we had companies who are doing very heavy transactions. They are very hiring at a very high attrition rate, and they're doing like a lot of transactions in the system. For example, is security guards at the airports that they manage in the US. So they are like the low end people, like $10 an hour. So they have like higher turnaround, and they have continuous hiring happenings. They're like very high volume transaction company. They're moving people in locations.
Okay. And so say as part of the package we buy, I don't know, 2,500 employees. If one leaves, then you just reuse that license, do you?
It's all dependent on number of users. So the pricing is like how many people are going to use the system.
Okay. And when you say use the system, do you mean, sorry to interrupt you, when you say use the system, you mean self-service?
No, there are like super user licenses, and there are like normal user licenses, and then there are ESS and MSS licenses. So so which is like per user, and we offer it in like both the mode. So in India, there are some customers who have taken it on premise, and there are some customers who have taken it on the cloud. The reason being that the internet connectivity in India is not all that great in certain remote locations. So the metro areas like Delhi, Mumbai, they have good connectivity. So they can go ahead with cloud, which is per user per month, sort of a subscription model. And the system is maintained by us, but there are other customers who host the solution on their own servers, and they want to maintain it because of the internet connectivity issues.
Okay. And from your experience, what level of resource is required internally as you go through the configuration plan?
So we would definitely need to have the steering committee for the project, and we would need the business users and who will be giving us the requirement. And now some sort of a project manager is advisable, but some companies would try to save resources. But the recommendation is that sometimes they get very ambitious and enthusiastic about the requirements. They need like too much of it, so someone needs to control that or make a phased approach of the project, that okay, let's do this in the first phase and then roll it out in the subsequent phases.
Yeah. So would you normally do it on a phased configuration? You'd sort of get the core piece in, maybe the recruitment piece in, and then add on the training, add on the sort of reporting, add on all of that as you go? Or is everything sort of configured right at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, it's advisable to go with a base of everything what you need, like a base of basic training, basic time and attendance, basic workforce management, basic recruitment. And then you want to make it more complex, that okay, I want to do these advanced screening, I want to like do a behavioral screenings, and I want to do these advanced algorithms. So we have system where it can do certain advanced algorithms even before wasting time of the hiring manager. So, but that needs like training of your own resources too, like, I mean, to support the system.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you think your system is better than, I mean, obviously the market is completely flooded with HR systems at the moment. Why do you think yours is differentiated from others?
So one of the reason is like, I mean, there are like many systems, and we have paid like very minute details on the user experience part of it and like level of automation. We know the systems might claim that we have recruitment, but we know that they have recruitment, but it's too basic and it will take you 20 clicks to post one job requisitions. So from a productivity standpoint, from a user experience standpoint, from automation and artificial intelligence, I mean, we are like much more ahead on the from the competition as far as those aspects are concerned.
Okay. And so what sort of post implementation? What's your customer support module approach?
So most of the support, if it is like configuration related or something, that is done through the implementation partners. But if it is a software bug, then the implementation partner or the customer themselves can raise a ticket with us directly. And we're headquartered in Reston, Virginia, which is just outskirts of Washington D.C. area. So our development center takes care of those system bugs. But as far as the configuration is concerned, mostly the implementation partner who brings in the customer are responsible for the support for any configuration changes or any additional training of the super users and so on.
What's the usual turnaround time for such tickets, Ashish?
Yeah, those are like high, medium, and low priority that we set up. If like it's a production issue, it's a burning issue, then we typically take it up within 24 hours. But well, there has to be a proper justification of those issues. Often customers end up making every ticket to be a high priority, which is not reasonable and quite unfair to us if we do this. So we negotiate that is it truly a production issue. So if it is a medium ticket, then it is typically resolved within a week's time. And again, you know, these are IT systems. At times, if it is like something which is because of your customization that you did, so that's an altogether different ball game. That if you are tweaking with the system and tweaking with the code of the system, so I mean that's why we typically recommend customers not to customize too heavily, that it becomes like a debugging, and then like probably if you engage our direct resources from business finders, then they are obviously like much more costlier than the resellers and the implementation partners.
Mm-hmm. So what's the low rank ticket turnaround time? Let's assume the ranking is low for a ticket. We
try to still like do it within a week's time, even if it is a low ranking ticket. We don't want to exceed it beyond a week's time. But again, it is also complexity. It might be low, but it might be more complex. So we try to like work with the customers that if it is a software bug.
Mm-hmm.